Hi, this is Esther with Discover Your Origins. In this video, I'm going to continue looking at the children of Martha Langford. And in the previous video, we looked at the first three children of Martha Langford and John Harman. And the first two children, William Harman and James W. Harman, we were not able to verify. And so I marked them as unverified on my ancestry tree. And hopefully somebody at some point will come along and add some documentation. I am going to leave them on Family Search for now. And it would make sense for Martha and John to have had children. According to this profile, they were married about 1835. And so it would make sense for them to have had children between 1835 and 1840 when Henry Patrick Harman was born. So I'm going to look at Henry Patrick Harman and show you the research that I was able to do over the weekend for him. And you'll notice that his name is different because he was originally listed Patrick Henry. But as I looked at all the documents for him, his name was always Henry P. And I don't know if Patrick is actually his middle name, but it was always Henry P. And so I did switch that around to Henry Patrick Harman because of the records that we have for him. So I'm going to go forward and we'll take a look at what I found. So we didn't have a death date. We had an approximate death year of 1863, which would suggest that he probably served in the Civil War. He was born in 1840, so he would have been about 20 years old when the war started. And sure enough, I was able to look in Fold 3 at the Family Search Center and find a military service packet that seemed to match. So first, let's look at the sources I added. The first one we'll look at is this Civil War service record for Henry P. Harman. I did add the citation for the source that I found and what it lists. And it is available at Fold 3. Now, these records at Fold 3 are being uploaded to the National Archives because they are the actual holders of the physical documents. Ancestry had filmed them and put them up on Fold 3, which is a subscription site, and that's why I went to the Family Search Center, because you can look at Fold 3 for free at a Family Search Center. But you can go directly to the National Archives and look at the same records for free. It's just their search engine is not as good, and it takes a bit longer to find what you're looking for. Fold 3 is pretty quick, so if you can, go to a Family Search Center. So I've added that as a source citation for him. This second citation is for a website that lists the men who were a part of this regiment and the battles that they were a part of and the military leaders and that kind of thing. And it was good to help get some historical context of that because it helped me match up the records better. So let's go look at the actual documents. I didn't upload the images in order, so they're not listed on order on this page. But the first one is this page 1 here. And this is just a reference slip. It just shows that there are some of the documents in the packet that say H.T. Harman with a T, and they all refer to H.P. Harman. So that's just good to know. Page 2. This is his muster in roll, and so this is the first day in which he was present after his enlistment, and it shows that he enlisted at Lightwood Knot Springs in Columbia, South Carolina. And the history that I found on this regiment said that the men from Lexington County went to Lightwood Knot Springs in Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm not sure exactly where that was. That was probably a camp that was formed. And the muster in date was September 11th, 1861. So he was definitely a part of that initial call for soldiers by Jefferson Davis. Now, this does say that he was 21 years old, so that helps tie into that 1840 birth date. And since the man from Lexington County went to this location, it makes sense for our Henry Patrick Harman, who is in Lexington County, to have gone to that place to enlist. Okay, so page 3. And you'll notice right off the bat, that September 3rd to October 31st, 1861, he's absent. He was on sick furlough. So he had enlisted with all of the other men in September of 1861, and he was immediately furloughed because he was ill. Okay, we'll go to page 4. So this is February 28th, 1862. He's present, so he's in the muster roll, so he's returned from being ill. So I don't know what happened between October and February, but he's there. Okay, so page 5. Okay, so this is from November to December 1862. He's absent again, and he's in the hospital sick. Now you can imagine the conditions of these regiment camps. They probably weren't very clean. There was not really any way to bathe. The sanitation probably didn't exist. So if he went into those camps sick, it would make sense that he would stay sick, or become sick again easily if he had just recovered from an previous illness. And so once again, he's in the hospital sick. Okay, we'll go to page 6. Okay, so this is October 1862. He's sick and absent again. Go to page 7. Now this one was interesting. It says that his name, which is listed as H.T. Harman in this document, instead of H.P. Harman, but that reference slip indicates that this refers to the same person. He's on a report of prisoners of war who were captured, and they were captured on a reconnaissance to Winchester, which would be Winchester, Virginia, which left this place December 2nd and returned yesterday, and who were paroled at Winchester, Virginia, December 4th, 1862. So he was on some kind of military maneuver, was captured, and then paroled a few days later. Okay, we'll go to page 8. Okay, here we are again, March to April 1863. He's absent and sick at the hospital again. All right, page 9. Okay, so January 18th, 1863, we have a recording of a death date. And this one actually overlaps the previous image. So there just probably wasn't very much communication between the muster roll and this. So his name appears on a list of deaths at the Confederate Hospital at Winchester, Virginia. And there's a remark here. The number treated since December 4th, 1862 is 125. These were cases of individuals unable for transportation at time of evacuation by Confederate forces. So the Confederate forces had evacuated Winchester, Virginia, but the men who were in the hospital could not be transported. And these were men who were mostly protracted, so men who had been ill for quite some time and of wounded from the Battle of Antietam. Now, it's not really clear if Henry served or fought in the Battle of Antietam. I suspect he probably didn't because he had been ill for quite some time. And it looks like he died of some kind of pulmonary infection. So I would probably guess pneumonia, but it could have been some other type of viral infection or bacterial infection. The hospital was probably not a very clean place. There was probably a lot of sickness. So it would not have been a surprise that if he went into that hospital, he wasn't going to come out. And that seems to be what happened. So the document here is good because it gives a place of death and the death date. And so we were able to update his profile here on Family Search with this information. Page 10 is interesting because it says he returned to duty in October 1862 from being in the hospital. And then he's back in the hospital again and he dies in January. So he never really had much, didn't really see much action as far as serving in the war and actual battles. and then he died. So I wrote a little summary story here, just explaining that he had been ill and the timeline of events, and also made a note about the name, the two names that he was listed under. So with that information that I was able to gather, I updated his information here. So I'm going to go ahead and update his profile here. So you can just do a quick edit, and I'll just update my ancestry. Now this birth year that's on his profile, I don't know where that date came from. That is unsourced. And like I said, there's probably a family Bible. It would make sense for him to have been born in Lexington County because that's where the family was located. But we do know for sure now his death date and place. So that's always good to be able to get that information. All right, here's Winchester, Virginia. All right, now I want to be able to transfer the sources that are on Family Search over to Ancestry. So you can do that by clicking on the little Family Search tree icon here on Ancestry. I have to click Sign In. All right, so I'm going to connect the two of them. We'll connect the person. And here, let me make the screen a little bigger. So now I can click on this Family Search and I can compare the two. And we'll scroll down to where the sources are, and I want these two that I had created in Family Search to show up as sources. I still need to add the 1860 census to him on Ancestry as well. Okay, so these show up as other sources, so they're just links now, but they link to the Fold 3 Civil War service record, so that's good. And so now we have completed looking at Henry Patrick Harman and learning more about him and his service in the Civil War. So that's good. The next person that we'll look at in the next video is Anna Delphia Harman. And we'll just click through really quick and take a look. We've got a possible duplicate here that we need to resolve, and then she's married with some children. Her husband is missing a death date. We've got several children here to look at, so there should be some good things to look at as we continue to work on this family. So I hope that was helpful, seeing a Civil War service record and what they look like. And so we'll see you next time.